So in question number 1, you want to highlight, right? So if it's the 13th of the month, that's P, or actually in November is P. Then it's Friday, that's Q. It's Friday, that's Q. I know I can't start with a Q. This is the converse pattern, so this doesn't work. I think this one does the same thing. If a student gets an A on the final exam, that's P. Then the student will pass the course, that's Q. If you read this, you're going to read it and say, oh, this is true, because if I pass the course, then I get an A on the final exam. But if I start with a Q, that's converse, and converse is not valid. Don't look for truth. You don't want to read these sentences for truth. You want to look for the patterns, right? So these two are converse. They're not going to be true because they start with a Q, or they're not going to be valid. If you read a good book, that's P. Then you enjoy yourself, that's Q. So P and Q. If you read a good book, oh, that starts with a P. I can't have two hypotheses that cross out at the beginning of a sentence. That means I have two conclusions at the end, and I can't put two conclusions together into a sentence, right? So it must be this one. If an animal is named Canis rufus, that's P. Then it is endangered, that's Q. The animal is a red wolf, that's a whole new thing. I've got Canis rufus and endangered. Now I've got red wolf, that's the R. Then the scientific name is Canis rufus, that was my P. So if the beginning of this sentence cancels out with the end of this sentence, then everything else comes down. The R comes down as the hypothesis, and the endangered, the Q comes down as the conclusion. This is going to be my answer here. Okay, so you need a beginning and an ending that can cancel out, and then the beginning stays the beginning and the ending stays the ending. Okay, questions on that? I know those things just never go away. This one looked fantastic, everybody. So we did triangle sum here, and angle 1 was 47. We did linear pair here, so angle 2 was 137. And then we do triangle sum with the 137 and the 12, and angle 3 was 31. I think almost everybody that I saw got that. And you didn't necessarily have to go 1, 2, 3. You could have done a lot of other things. Okay, so we're getting so good at those. I'm so impressed. This one, a couple of people said, how on earth do I plot this point? There's no negative 10. Well, there is a line over here. A couple of people said that. So negative 10 and up 4, that's going to be my W. And then negative 3, negative 1, negative 3, negative 1 is down here in quadrant 3. So make sure you get that in the right spot. Some people graphed. So they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That side is 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This side is 7. So that would be Pythagorean theorem, 5 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared, right? Pythagorean theorem. Or we could do x minus x. So negative 10 minus negative 3. When you subtract a negative, that turns positive. Negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. Guys, that's my 7 right here. It's the same thing. And then we've got 4 and negative 1. This is where some people made some little arithmetic mistakes. 4 minus negative 1. When you do 4 minus negative 1, that's 5. That's my 5 here. So 5 squared. 7 squared and 5 squared is 49 plus 25, which is, help me out, was 49 plus 25. 74. Thank you. And so what is the square root of 74? Is it 8.6? Okay, so Lily, you were right. I must have done something weird. Or Casey, you just said 8.6, but didn't you have 8.6 in your thing? Yeah, and I think I wrote you a note. I got something a little bit bigger. I must have done something weird. I probably did the square root of 84 in my calculator. So, clicked the wrong thing. So this one, lots of A's and lots of B's. I don't have the answer choices here, but it's asking longest to shortest. So we got to find this missing angle. What is angle F? What is it? 90. I hate it when the pictures don't look like they're supposed to, right? Does that bother anybody else? It definitely bothers me. So if I'm going longest to shortest, F is my biggest angle, so DE is the longest side. DE. And then D is my medium angle, so opposite EF is my medium side. And then smallest angle E, so DF is the shortest side. Make sure you're reading the directions. The most popular wrong answer has them in exactly the opposite order. Okay, so just be careful about that. What kind of angles are these? Same side interior, absolutely. And so same side interior should add up to what? 180, right? And I think X equaled -9. Negative numbers always freak me out a little bit in geometry because we talk about real stuff. But remember, if an X is negative and you stick it in, this is still a positive angle. This angle is 100 and this angle is 80. So negative numbers should make you pause a little bit, but definitely if you can plug them back in and they're positive angles, then it's going to be correct. Great job, guys. All right, let's close that out. We're going to go down to this next thing and we're going to kind of skip around a little bit. We're going to do a couple of pages of notes, and then I'm going to have you log into IXL and practice it a little bit, and then we're going to come back to this. Okay. So if you like the Pear Deck, you can open the Pear Deck. If you like the Google Slides and you want to organize your life that way, please feel free to do that. The Pear Deck, sometimes when I close them out, they go to your Gmail and sometimes they don't. So if you want to make sure you have the notes, you want to open the Google Slides. Okay. But the Pear Decks are sometimes easier to write on. So however you want to do it, grab your information, grab your notes, basically. We're going to talk about marking pictures. Okay. Did I give everybody enough time to get there? Do I need to put any links in the chat for my Zoomies? Okay. This is just kind of a basic review, but when we're marking congruent sides, we use tick marks, right? So AB, side AB, is congruent to side AC, which is congruent to side BC, right? If I give you these tick marks, you can write any part of this statement. Everybody good with that? Pretty basic, right? And same thing with angles. I use these angle loops to mark congruent angles. So anything with a single loop, all of those things are going to be congruent to each other. So all of those angles equals 60 degrees. I could write angle E is congruent to angle D, which is congruent to angle F, right? If we go to slide 2, let's practice what that actually looks like. You're also given a key up here. So the key is super important. S or TU is the first or the last two letters, right? So TU goes with LM. You always want to use this key up here. Don't just look at the shape because it could have been turned around, flipped around, rotated. I could have done any transformation here. So TU is the last two letters. It goes with LM. What's KM go with? Yeah, KM goes with US or SU because K is first and M is second, so SU. KM and SU, right? Which means LK goes with what? LK goes with TS. TS. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Notice that I put one tick mark for the two sides that are congruent, and then 2 tick marks for the two sides that are congruent, and then 3 tick marks for the sides that are congruent. I want you to do MT, so do the rest of this row, basically. Do the rest of number 4. I'm going to go look on Securely and see what I can see. So what does angle M go with? U. What's angle T go with? L. Excellent. This is angle. So this angle here, and we had issues with this on the test. So UST, I'm going to look for angle S. UST, I'm talking about angle S. What goes with angle S? K, absolutely. So U or S and K are the first 2 letters. But if I'm going to label this the same way it was labeled here, UST, I've got to go down the 1 tick mark side and then up the 3 tick mark side. So I've got to go MKL. MKL. I don't know why my mouth is being so weird today. What's the difference between between F, like Frank, and G, like gorilla? What's the difference? What's the difference in symbols? This means an angle, and this means a triangle. So this, all I'm talking about is that middle angle, angle U. This, I'm talking about the whole triangle. So if I said, what's the angle measure of UST, this would just be the measure of angle U. This one, I'm talking about the entire triangle. The letters are the same, still MKL, right? What about triangle TUS? How would you name that? TUS, T to U to S. Middle, last, first. So LMK, middle, last, first. LMK. Guys, the order matters here. It's going to make you absolutely insane when you go to do your IXL because the order matters. Okay? We can do the same thing with measures. Okay? So if I know that BCM is congruent to ZYR, the B goes with the Z, the C goes with the Y, and then the M goes with the R. This is your key. So CM is how long? CM is how long? CM is the last 2, so it goes with YR, so that's got to be 11, correct? And that's a side, so it's length. What about BM? BM is the first and the last. How long is that? 15, yeah, absolutely. Why are we so quiet? 15 centimeters. This must be easy. And then YZ is 1, 2, 3. How long is that? 8 centimeters for sure. Okay. Then we've got angles over here. So angle B, these are my favorite because it's less letters. B goes with what? B goes with Z. So those are 45 degrees. And M goes with what? M is the last letter, so it goes with R. Nice, in the chat. Huh, but I don't know what R is. So how do I find R? I've got to go to my next one. Sometimes we can't go in order, correct? So then I've got C. C goes with Y. So if this is 103, but one angle that's 103, one angle that's 45, what's the missing angle? Okay, what is it? It is 32. Excellent. Okay, triangle sum. Going to come back here too. Lives on for forever. What about this last one down here? Let's see if I can move this little product thing. Come on. There we go. What about this last one here? XL. So XL is the first and the last. So it goes with PA. And PA is how long? 13. And what kind of triangle is this? It is obtuse for sure. That X is an obtuse angle. What do I know about the sides? It's isosceles for sure. So XN and XL are congruent. So AP and PC are going to be congruent. So PC is also 13, which means AC is what? AC is the first two letters. It goes with LN, so it is 21. These are all centimeters. Centimeters. They're all sides, right? So what about the angles? What do I know about the angles? Angle L goes with angle A. What other angle is 29 degrees? You can put it in the chat or you can shout it out. What other angle is 29 degrees? Because this is L for sure, yep. Because A and L are congruent. What else? C, somebody said. Why is C also 29 degrees? Because it's what kind of triangle? Obtuse, for sure. So that obtuse angle is going to be different. It's also isosceles, right? So if these two sides are the same, then the base angles are the same. If these two sides are the same, then the base angles are the same. The angles that don't create that obtuse angle are going to be congruent. So how do I figure out angle X? How do I figure out angle X? I get out my calculator and do what kind of magic in the calculator? Come on, guys! How do you find the third angle? Yeah, 180 minus 29, which is what? Awesome. Am I insulting your intelligence by asking you too easy a question? Is that the problem? I don't mean to do that. Let's look at the next one. It's going to step up the game just a little bit, and then we're going to go work on some IXL before we look at any more of these slides. Okay? So this is where the rubber meets the road. We've got to set up some equations. What equations can I set up to find X and to find Y? Well, if I'm trying to find X, I'm looking at this side, XS. What goes with XS in the other triangle? And it's tempting to just visually look at this and say that they've been reflected essentially over the y-axis. But you always want to look up here. So XS is the first letter and the last letter. So it goes with the first letter and the last letter over here, DF. DF is what you need to set that equal to. So you're going to do 17x plus 3 equals 54. Write that down on a sheet of paper, pull out your calculator, do whatever you need to do to figure out what X equals. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Awesome. When you have the answer, put it in the chat and hit send or enter. Awesome. So we subtract 3 from both sides and divide by 17, and x equals 3. We're going to do the same thing for y. So the side that has a y variable is this xp side. xp is the first 2 letters. dn is the first 2 letters. So y equals 57. So that equation is going to be 4y equals minus 3 equals 57. What's y equal? What's y equal? 15? Do we agree? Is y equal 15? Okay, nice. Pretty easy, right? Let's do 2 more and then we're going to do the IXL. At least start on it. So if you're looking at triangle MTW goes with BGK, the M and the B are going to be congruent. So the M and the B are going to be congruent. And the T and the G are going to be congruent. And then the W and the K. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Notice that I labeled the first letters with a single loop, the second letters with 2 loops, and then third with 3 loops. Then you just find x and y by doing the same thing we did for the sides up here. So we set up the sides equal to each other, the sides equal to each other. Here we're going to set up the angles. So the 2 loop angle has to equal the 2 loop angle. So 4x minus 3 equals 45. And then the 1 loop angle and the 1 loop angle have to equal. The problem is, I don't know what m equals. How can I figure out what m equals? How can I figure out what m equals so I can finish setting up this equation? What goes in that purple box? Any ideas? Say it again. This right here is a 6. Yeah, I'm sorry. My handwriting is not very good today. That's a 6. Absolutely. So if G and T are equal, I can just put the 45 over here. I can also solve for X and then substitute it back in. So if I solve this for X, I get 45 plus 3 is 48. 48 divided by 4, X equals 12. If I substitute that 12 back in, 4 times 12 is 48, minus 3 is 45. So if I have 45 over here, 180 minus 45 minus 41. 180 minus 45 minus 41 equals 94. So m equals 94. You've got to do that triangle sum before you can set it equal to this 11y plus 6 in order to subtract 6 and divide by 11. So if x equals 12, y equals what? 94 minus 6 divided by 11. 8. Okay, lots of steps here. It's going to bring everything together. So it started crazy easy on the last slide because you got to be perfect with all of those things in order to do all of this hard stuff. Look at number 9. Spend a minute or so thinking about how you need to do that. What do we need to do for number 9? So what's step number 1 down here? Anybody got an idea? Where would you start? What angles go together? Absolutely. So P equals C. So this is 28. What else do we know? What does R go with? R goes with F. So this one must be F, right? R goes with F. I guess I clipped that off. R goes with F, which means that S goes with H. S goes with H. So what equations can I set up? R, what do I know about R? Absolutely. So 13y minus 1 equals 90. Right? So if I add 1 to both sides and divide by 13, what's y equal? So everybody should have a calculator out. Everybody should be doing 90 plus 1 divided by 13. Is that 7? Okay, so I found y. How do I find x? If r is opposite that 2x minus 7, right? Can I go opposite this right angle to the 39? Should these guys equal? The 2x minus 7 and the 39? If small is across from small and large is across from large, and these are congruent triangles, then opposite the r and opposite the right angle over here, those should be equal. So we're going to do 2x minus 7 equals 39. And then do 39 plus 7 divided by 2. So what is 39 plus 7 divided by 2? Awesome. X equals 23. Okay. Before the next part, what I'd like for you to do is go over to IXL. So if you need to go through ClassLink, please do that. We're going to go all the way down to geometry. And I think you're going to go to the J, like juggle. J like juice. Populating. Yep. We're going to do J1 and J2. And if you can get to J3, that would be fantastic. We're going to spend about, I don't know, 15 minutes working on these. So I'm going to stop sharing.